I have never ridden horse, so that's why I'd like to try it. And I pass my word to Lesa Lepko.
I have never tried to swim in the ocean, so I would like to try to swim in the ocean, Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean. That's my dream.
And you pass the word?
Irina Dmitriev.
I have never been to United States, but one day maybe I would like to go to United States. And I pass to Maria Hodovatska.
I have never driven a car yet, but I'm starting to do it. And maybe in the future, I'll drive the car.
Okay.
And I pass the turn to maybe Lesa Lepko.
What?
I would like to swim one more in the Pacific Ocean. That's a great idea that I have. I worked in the USA, but I never swam in the ocean. So.
Yeah, you can raise your hand, and in this way, the other participants will see that you haven't spoken yet, and it will be easier for them to choose you, please.
Hopefully, Olga Andrukhiev.
Yes.
I have never rollerbladed, so I want to do it one day.
Okay, cool. And maybe some other people who still...
I want to, Miroslava maybe. Samchuk.
Miroslava, yes.
Sorry, I did this task.
Oh, okay. And
Olena, Oleg.
Olena, are you here?
Hey, may I?
Yes.
Yeah, Olga.
Thanks. I've never been abroad, and I hope to go somewhere.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, ladies, so much. I hope that not one day, but soon in the near future, all your dreams and all your wishes and desires come true. Yes. Okay, so let's start our session. Yes. And
just a second.
Okay, as you can see from the screen, today we are going to speak about the assessment. Yes, assessment for learning. Because all of you know that assessment for learning is very powerful process, and this process helps teachers to organize, to optimize, yes, and to improve the lesson, to improve the skills and the knowledge of their students. And personally for me, this assessment for learning is really very amazing and incredible tool that I use, and I think all of us use, yes, to gain the understanding of the knowledge of our students, their skills, in order to guide our students to improve their knowledge and to improve their skills. So today we speak about assessment, improve our knowledge, yes, share some experience that you have. And the outcomes of our session, yes, are the next. Identify the key concepts, characteristics, and purpose of assessment for learning. Select and examine assessment activities which promote learning, and reflect on how to introduce assessment activities in a lesson. Yes, I think they are achievable, yes, and we can do it. Okay, and now we have a very interesting and really funny task, but it's really thought-provoking. So which of the monkeys show how you feel about your knowledge of assessment? For this moment, we are going to move and to work in Menti.com. It would be a very short and quick like questioning, yes, and it would be anonymous. So be honest, be true. It's just for you. Nobody can see like your result. Yes, it's just for you and to us to see what knowledge and what how do you feel about the assessment? Yes.
Just Yulia, sorry, just a little bit more clarification. Sorry for interruption. You can use annotation tools. Anyone won't see your names because I used the settings, and you can use annotation tools and mark the monkey, the level of the monkey as you feel yourself, your knowledge about assessment for learning.
Now, at this moment, just.
Yeah. Before the session and after completing the slides and participating in forum discussions. Use the annotation tools and put any mark like this or this.
You can stick on monkey that you like more.
We have some answers. Thank you. Yes. Okay, yeah, thank you for sharing. Okay, some more, please.
Oh, thank you.
We really hope that by the end of the session, you will move higher. Okay.
Okay, very good.
Thank you. Okay, Juliana, you can.
Okay,
move.
so yeah, I think that I can clear all your answers, and later we'll compare your answers. Okay, just a second.
Okay, don't forget that this activity was just for yourself, yes, and you just be honest because you can improve during our session, yes, your knowledge, your understanding about the assessment, and we hope that at the end of this session, you will be more informed, yes, and be ready to move and assess your students, okay?
Thank you, Julia. So we move to the next slide and let's speak about the type of assessment. What is assessment? Assessment is a process that check how learning is going, yeah? And we could represent the main types of classroom assessment like start, run, and finish. So for somebody run, for somebody only go. It depends on students' abilities, yeah? So at the start of learning, we use diagnostic assessment. It happens to help to tell the teachers and the students how much they know and how much they don't know. What about formative assessment? It is used to determine how students are progressing. And for summative assessment, the success is measured at the end of a checkpoint. Please take a look at these two statements below on the screen. Could you identify which of them relates to assessment for learning and which one to assessment of learning? Please, who would like to read and to identify? Okay, nobody. So today is the 12th of March. Who's the 12th in my list? Okay, it is Zoya Romaniuk.
Yes, I know that. It is my turn again. So,
okay.
Formative assessment is assessment, and I must say diagnostic, or I missed something.
So we have to identify it is assessment for learning or of learning.
Okay. So formative assessment is assessment for learning.
Very well.
Its focus is on future achievement.
Right, you are.
And summative assessment is assessment maybe of learning.
Of learning, very well, yeah. It assesses
what has been learned in the past.
Yeah, very well. So assessment for learning gives us teachers information about learners' understanding and helps us to identify areas they may need to improve, yeah? And summative assessment is used to evaluate learning at the end of a defined instructional period. For example, at the end of a term or of a unit or at the end of the school year, yeah? Thank you so much. Now, look at the screen. You can see the different assessment practices. Go to annotation tools. Choose stars for sticking on them next to the examples of assessment of learning, and choose hearts for sticking next to the assessment for the example of assessment for learning. So once more time, stars, assessment of learning, and hearts, assessment for learning. Please stick on the screen. It's also anonymous. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, thank you. Very well. Great. Thank you, Liana. Can you clear the all the okay, clear, please. And we will maybe check the answers if we have done everything correct.
Diana, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, it seems I had like some unstable internet connection and I couldn't hear anything. Can I clear all the drawings and move on?
Yeah, I asked you to do it, yeah.
Sorry about that. I just couldn't hear anything.
Thank you so much. So these are the answers. And please, who can read them? Maybe
Formative in-class Q&A, peer assessment, self-assessment, quizzes, detailed comments on a piece of homework, and summative national or state test, and end of chapter test.
Right, wow, okay, thank you so much. So for summative assessment, we use typically some tests, yeah, which we are doing at the end of an process of educational process. And for formative assessment, we use different questions and answers, quizzes for checking the process of learning. Thank you so much. Yulia.
Okay, so just a second. I just want to send invitation link to our Viber group because some of the participants say that they can't join, so I don't know why. So Julia, can I share the poll?
Yulia, we can't hear you. Please unmute your mic.
Okay, sorry. Okay, here now we're going to do a poll. Yes, identify the key characteristics of assessment for learning. Yes, so please just do it and tick off that statements that you think are the best and are the key characteristics of assessment for learning.
Yeah, you can choose and you should choose more than one.
Okay, Ulana, maybe you can share the results.
Yeah, I see that 13 out of 19 participants have already voted. Okay, just a second.
Okay, ladies, finish, please.
Okay, we have, yeah, just 10 seconds to finish.
Let's see. Okay, so we have some, like, say, winners. Yes, so involving pupils in peer and self-assessment. Okay, maybe we have there are some volunteers who would like to comment. Yes, why involving pupils in peer and self-assessment is the key characteristic of assessment for learning. Okay, don't be afraid. We just...
who was born in March, please? Hands up and read and comment, please.
So maybe I can try.
Okay, Anya, yes.
If a pupil can assess other students and himself, it means that, or herself, it means that they understand this topic, this context, and they like realize what mistakes can be done and what is correct or not correct.
Yes, okay, great, thank you. Okay, maybe some another ideas?
Yeah, it will save their teachers' time, I think, and improve students' understanding of course materials, as well as improve their cognitive, or as we call, metacognitive skills.
Okay, great, Lisa. Yes, okay, very good. Thank you. Yes, it's true that great point, and the main idea, yes, that includes of assessment for learning is that we should teach our students to assessment and assess their students and another pupils, and definitely it should be self-assessment, because totally agree with Anya, if students can maybe correct some mistakes, explain, help their peers, help in other pupils, they are into topic, they understood the lesson, and they can help even that students. And it's obvious about the self-assessment. Yes, all our even Ukrainian books, at the end of some unit, they have a page of self-assessment, yes, and every student can tick what he can do or even he can't do, yes, and the teacher can see his results and help him. Okay, very good, ladies, thank you. And the next one is promoting confidence that every pupil can improve. Yes, so what do you think about this one? Why should we promote confidence that every pupil in our class can improve and can do better?
It's a way to motivate a student. So, and if a student is motivated from the within, from inside, that he or she can improve, and he sees the results. So it's also a student-centered approach to studying, and it's definitely can be characterized as assessment for learning.
Yeah, thank you, Nadia. Thank you. Okay, so maybe some other thoughts.
If the pupil is confident, he is confident to get new knowledge. That is very important.
Yes, yes, and don't forget that our students write some tests and yes, some I don't know, dictations, or like do some activity during the lessons, during the lesson, and our students can be good at some activity and can do the another activity worse, yes, and we should encourage our students that next time you can do better, yes, promote that confidence that you can do better. And I think that the next time your students and or pupils, yes, will be more confident that yes, I really can do it, I'm able to do it, and we should promote it. Yes. Okay, the next that we have 87%, it's sharing learning outcomes with pupils. Who can comment this? Please, volunteers, ladies.
We are talking about, for example, interactive outcomes. That is very important. We learn here about group work, pair work, and so on and so forth. And if we will share these things with them, who knows, maybe for some of them it will be easier to overcome the fear and to be able to talk during the lesson, or even just to share feelings and emotion during the lesson. And after that, and that's why how the person will learn English, because English is a second language for them. So that's
Yes.
important.
Okay, yeah, totally agree with you, Lesa. Okay, maybe some other ideas from you ladies. Yes, shared learning outcomes, it's the main component, yes, of New Ukrainian School. And if we come to the lesson, we should say and share, yes, that outcomes with our students, what they're going to do today, what they're going to study, yes, and they hear it. During the lesson, they like understood what they are doing. And at the end, don't forget that you have a feedback. Yes, you have some reflection. You ask them, what have you learned? And at the beginning, if you told them about the outcomes, definitely you would hear the result that, I don't know, we have learned about animals, or we have learned about and that topic. So yes, it's obvious, it's essential part of assessment for learning. Okay, the next, and again, we have 87% providing feedback that leads students to recognizing their next steps, but and how to take them. Please, ladies, don't be afraid. Let's share your thoughts and your ideas about this topic.
So may I?
Yes, yes, Zoe, definitely.
So frankly speaking, I think that feedback is really important, because when we give students some knowledge, we want to check or if he or she understands it. That is why we do some tests, for example, for 5 or 6 minutes. We ask them some words to make sentences with it and something like that. To my mind, it is really important and we should do it, because if students can check if he or she knows it, he can try to correct himself and try not to make mistakes in the future.
Okay, yes, thank you, Zoe. Yes, well done, well said. Okay, and next we have 73% yes, helping pupils to know and to recognize the standards they are aiming for. What are your ideas about this statement? Please, ladies.
Every pupil or student has his or her aim, for example, of learning English language, yeah? So that's why we should help them to distinguish. It means to recognize why they need to, just to help them to overcome the difficulties and to go to that aim. So, and all of them has his or her purpose. So we should be like mentors, tutors, helpers during the lesson, and that's why you will rise the learning of the standards of learning of English language or foreign languages. So it's
yes, okay, totally agree with you, Lesa. And then we have 20%, yes, certifying students' proficiency in relation to curriculum learning outcomes. And one more, providing information to learners and other major stakeholders, such as parents and schools. Yes, they're equal, like 20%. And what are your ideas about this one?
Can I say?
Yes, Nadia.
I think that they are key characteristics of a different type of assessment of learning, not the assessment for learning.
Yes, definitely agree. And we have only the last one. Yes, measuring the attainment and allowing for recording of the learning progress. Yes, and I think that you agree with me, yes, that also this one is a type of assessment of learning. As Nadia said, it's quite different from the assessment for learning. Thank you, well done, great job, ladies. And let's move to the next slide. So, and now you're going to look at the range of practical techniques the teachers can use to promote assessment for learning. And one of them that you mentioned before, it is effective feedback and giving feedback, questioning techniques, and thank you so much that a lot of you also mentioned questioning techniques in forum discussions. Thank you so much, great job, yes, and informal classroom assessment techniques. Yes, so let's move. And the first one, do you think learners can give peer feedback without training? Why and why not?
Not without training. They have to be gradually taught how to give feedback. First of all, their feedback shouldn't be offensive. They have to learn how to be polite and how to give a constructive feedback. And they usually do this, learning it from the teacher, the way teacher gives feedback. So teacher sets an example and students follow it. And practice makes everything perfect. So the more they do it, the better the feedback is. And of course, the first one can't be perfect because they have just started it.
Okay, yes, thank you, Nadia. Very good. Okay, maybe some other ideas.
If the person or student has a well-developed critical thinking, that is their 21st century skills, it will be not a problem even without the help of a teacher to give a good and a proper feedback according to the theme. So the feedback to a peer. That's why we should, I may 50-50 agree that only teachers should. No, right now our students can teach us more than we can teach them.
Yes, yes, and let's say that we as teachers, we should teach our students and especially students from the primary school to give that peer feedback. Yes, and you can see that our students can be taught this way from the early age. Yes, and then when they are older, they can give really constructive, as Nadia said, and really a good feedback, and definitely positive, but not rude or sometimes offensive feedback. Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Diana.
Thank you, Yulia. So as we have already mentioned, one of the classroom practices of assessment for learning is peer assessment. It occurs when the students evaluate the work of others, of their classmates, of their peers. And the skills necessary for doing it can be taught from the very early age. We are going to watch a video about the peer assessment technique. Please be ready to write down some of the things the children learn about how to give peer feedback. So.
Can you see the YouTube channel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
If they're not getting high, what would you guys say to teachers? If they're not getting high quality work, could they learn something from this? And what would you say to them that they could do differently in their classrooms? This is a story called Austin's Butterfly. And it's a true story about a first grade boy, and his name is Austin, and he goes to school, or used to go to school, in a town called Boise, Idaho. And in his class in Boise, Idaho, they were studying butterflies, and he had to do a project. His job in first grade was to draw a butterfly, and this is the butterfly that he picked. Austin had to use this photograph as his model, and he had to draw an accurate scientific drawing of this butterfly. This is called a tiger swallowtail.
I knew it!
Can you tell, Toby, why it's called tiger?
Because it kind of has the stripes of the tiger right there.
Good. So here was Austin's job. He was supposed to do a scientific drawing of that butterfly. But remember, Austin was only in first grade. And you know what he did? He forgot to look like a scientist carefully. He got his paper and he just started to draw the image of a butterfly that he had in his head. And he wasn't looking like a scientist, and so this is what he drew. Whoa. It's not bad, and it is a butterfly, but does it look exactly like this?
No.
No, it doesn't yet. It doesn't look exactly like this yet. Luckily, this wasn't a regular school where Austin went. It was an expeditionary learning school, just like Przemysl School. And so they didn't look at this and say, good, Austin, you're done. They said, Austin, good start. Now we can start giving you critique so you can do a second draft and make it better, and a third draft and make it better, and you can make it much, much closer to this. And he was ready to go. All of the first graders in his critique group sat on the floor like you guys are, and they decided to split their advice into two kinds. First, just the shape of the wings. And then when the shape was right, they'd give him advice about the pattern inside the wings. Alia, what would you say?
You can make it much pointier.
Good. These wings could be much pointier. Who else would add something? Atak, what would you say?
How about the angle? Because, not to be mean about
Yes.
the angle, it's just not exact, so...
Okay, so show me. Come on up here, Atak. Show me what you would ask him to do slightly differently.
Like to make it a little longer.
Longer where? Draw where you would do it.
Right there.
Okay, so pull this out longer.
Yeah.
That's very specific, Atak. Thank you. Jamila, what would you say?
It's like triangle?
Good. Jamila, I love that. So you're saying more like a triangle shape. And I agree. Well, you know what? Those first graders came up with most of those same ideas. And you know what Austin said? He said, okay, I'll go try. And he went back to his seat and he drew this.
Wow.
Does this look more like a triangle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he go out further, like Atak was suggesting?
Yes. Yeah.
Did he add some jaggedness here?
Yes.
Like Cindy? Did he get rid of that bottom thing?
Yes.
So he did listen to his friends and he made it better. It's not perfect. Toby, what would you say?
I'd say don't put those little tail things so pointed in. I'd say put them more pointed down.
Good. Okay, and Ethan, what would you say?
I think you should make the wings like this, not like this.
Okay, he listened to his friends and they said, this is really a lot better, Austin. That second draft really is better.
Yeah, maybe you can make a third one.
Good, maybe he could make a third draft. And so he did this draft.
That's his third draft.
That's his third draft, Hadley. That's just right. Elijah, what do you notice there?
Well, one wing's more pointed than the other, and that side is a little bit higher than the others.
Good. Coburn?
Right here, it doesn't have the inside thing still.
Ah, okay. Needs a little bit more of that notch. So, do you think maybe he should do a fourth draft?
Yeah.
Well, that's just what he said. He said, shoot, okay, I got round again. I'll go back and do a fourth draft.
He listened.
He listened. Does it look more even like Elijah was suggesting?
Yes.
Yeah, and does it look like it's coming out a little sharper, like Cindy was suggesting? And like Attack was saying, it's the angle looks a little better. So now Austin was feeling really good. He said, am I ready to add some pattern? And they said, okay, why don't you try adding some of the pattern? And he did.
He's good at it. He is so good.
And then they said, Austin, you're ready for color.
Really?
Let's look at his last draft. Wow. And what do you think? Did it come out really good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually looks well.
Let me show you where he started, just to give you a quick reminder. And then, what do you think about how much progress he made? And Tak, what would you say about his progress?
He made like a lot of progress. He persevered doing it. His friends were honest with him.
What was it about the kinds of advice that they gave that allowed him to get better each time? Hassan?
Well, they told him what was wrong about it.
Did they say it's just wrong, or were they more specific than that?
They were more specific, but they weren't mean about it.
Great.
He
Hadley.
made 6 drafts.
And so is that something that other kids should learn from? What should we learn from that?
We can make other drafts if it's not right.
Good. So if it's not right, you can keep doing more drafts to make it better.
You just don't use things in your head. You want to use a sharp eye.
Good. He used the eyes of a scientist. Great.
Thank you so much. Okay, hope you like this video and the ways children learn about giving peer feedback. Now we kindly ask you to work in 3 groups and to discuss the questions you will be able to see on your screen. Please, Uliana, share the screen.
I am busy with this, yeah. Just a second.
So these questions are, what can we learn from this video? And what the children learn about giving feedback to peers and about how to work. Please choose one speaker who will represent your group and will share your ideas with us. You have got 5 minutes for doing it. Now, let's make sure that all instructions are clear. Please answer my questions. Tell me, please, are we going to work in 2 or in 3 groups?
In 3.
In 3 groups.
3.
Very well, thank you. What are you going to discuss there?
2 questions.
2 questions about what we learned from the video. And about what children learn about giving feedback to peers and to work. Okay, thank you so much. Tell me, please, how much time do you need for this work? For
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, and the last question, do you need to choose a speaker or not?
Yes.
To choose one speaker.
One speaker from a group.
Yeah, it may be even more than one.
Maybe.
Yeah, it would be better.
So be ready to comment, to add comments. Yeah.
Okay, so please join your.
Yeah. I wish you good luck. See you all in 5 minutes.
Так, я не натиснула. І воно десь пропало.
Nadia, just a second. Do not press. I will just a second. You have, if you are using your phone, you have 3 dots somewhere near
near reactions.
Yeah, and
you can click there and find these breakout rooms.
Okay, Tanya, hello, thank you for joining us. Okay, I will send questions in a chat, but Tanya didn't watch the video. You will listen to your peers and you will learn from them. So.
Okay.
You couldn't assign them automatically to the break.
Teachers as an example of tolerance and patience. So little by little, step by step, students were taught what to do, how to analyze the student's work, not to criticize the student, not to criticize the work, but step by step, detail by detail, they were showed in what way, and they had to express their ideas in what way this or that detail had to be improved. It to some extent it teaches students not to give up, because of course the first was not perfect, but little by little, improving the details, they tried to make it perfect, and it is motivating and it encourages the students whose work is discussed. So that's in general our ideas. Maybe someone will add.
Excellent summary, Irina. Great job, group number 2. Thank you so much. And now, please, group number 3, who will be your...
I can start.
Yeah.
So for us as teachers, it was like our colleagues mentioned, real example of teaching feedback for students, how to do it, not to impose correct behavior during this feedback, but to show what kind of peer feedback can be helpful and can improve final results of our peers. And as for children, they learned how to not to criticize, but to help and to give advice. And they were taught to be able to give a second, maybe a third, and even a sixth chance for everyone to get better, to become better. And this real situation, like promoted positive emotions in children, and from real situations, they learned how to do this feedback.
Thank you. You are right. Great job. Thank you so much. Yeah, as we can see, this video show us a real example of effective peer feedback. And now, Uliana, I ask you to share the screen, and let's check. Let's summarize how should be given peer feedback. I ask you to read these statements, and maybe somebody who is wearing blue now. Who's wearing blue now? Look. Nobody likes blue color? Okay, is there anybody here who wears blue color?
I have a blue t-shirt. It's dark.
Okay, very well. So let's read and summarize.
Giving peer feedback. Feedback must be specific and not mean. So it has to be friendly, yes? When giving feedback, keep in mind that you want to help your peer. Again, friendly atmosphere. We have to be friends. We are not enemies. We just help each other and improve each other. Mention positive changes when you give feedback. The same, always in positive mood. A good product needs a process, drafts. So you need to be perseverant. You need to be patient, and you need to accept feedback in order to improve your work. So always to become better. And to be good, to be like positive, in positive mood. And
thank you, Irina. Great summary. Almost nothing to add. Thank you so much. Thank you. Great job.
Okay.
Now, Yulia, please.
Thank you, Diana. And now we move to teachers' feedback. Yes, teachers' feedback is also very important and essential part of our work and part of a lesson. And we should know how to give effective, and I really like that word that Nadia said, constructive feedback to our students, our learners. Yes. So the next slides would be focused on effective strategies for giving feedback. So feedback is a way that we provide information to a student which focuses on their performance. Yes, the performance during the lesson. But I would like to add that don't forget that your feedback should be specific. Yes, and I mentioned it before that during the lesson, the activity of your students can change. It could be passive or active in doing some activities, yes, and you should give the feedback specific to that activity that you want to encourage or to praise your student, or maybe just to help and push him. And effective feedback helps students to understand what they have done well and what they need to do to improve their work. Yeah, it's essential because if you just say like, great job, it's not specific, and your students wouldn't understand for what maybe activity or for what sentence or what you said, great job. So they should understand that maybe they said a good sentence, or maybe they read very good without any mistakes, yes, or did some another activity, and they understood that that activity, that task was done well. And maybe in that, some another activity, in a writing test or some another exercise, you should improve, like do better, try, read more. So you should be specific. And I know that here we have very qualified and great teachers that will help me, yes, to give and to effective feedback, yes. So what makes effective feedback? It's only just your opinion, just share, like, to your mind. What makes effective feedback? How
Can I start? Can I say?
Yes,
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 some of you
correct.
can say, those who are who are listening, you can also type in a chat your ideas. Please, Nadia, sorry.
Yes, go.
I would like to say that when I give feedback, I always start with something positive. Even if there is a student or person who has more drawbacks than positive things, I try always to find something good about this person. And if we start the feedback with a positive thing, so this encourages the student, and then the student isn't so much upset about the negative things that I have to say, and he or she is very happy about something that he or she has accomplished properly. So I think that every constructive feedback has to start with a good thing, with positive, with praise.
Yes, thank you, Nadia. Yes, totally agree with you. Great. Okay, maybe some in other thoughts. What can make effective feedback?
It has to be fair.
Fair, yes.
We have one in a chat, eye-to-eye contact. Thank you, Ira. Yes, okay, and we can see here, we can see some more ideas. Yulia?
Yes, some more tips, and I would like that our ladies, yes, read and help me read and maybe comment, yes, these tips, and they're very helpful tips. Okay, so please, who would like to read?
May I?
Yes, Zoya, definitely.
Good feedback should focus on the task and successful task completion. The next one, be positive about the current performance. Make the learner aware of specific actions to take to improve performance. Well, I totally agree with this feedback, and I would like to add that feedback should be in a good atmosphere, and how to say, children mustn't be afraid. They should trust teacher, and teacher should believe in it, in her or in him.
Yes.
And I think it will be, a student will be more confident, more sure, and there will be good result.
Yes, well said. Great. Okay, maybe some in other thoughts. No. Okay, Diana, let's move to practical task.
Thank you, Yulia. Thank you for a clear and summary of what effective feedback means. And now you are going to analyze 2 pieces of written work which have been marked by a teacher. The link to this document you can find in your chat box I sent already. While working in 3 groups, you have to discuss the difference in feedback strategies used by each teacher and the disadvantages and advantages of each of them. You have the time is limited. You have only 7 minutes for it. Then you'll come back to the main room, and the speakers of your groups will analyze the feedback strategies. So be ready to comment, to add some comments to your speakers groups. Well, now let's check if everything is clear. What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Watch a video.
No.
Yeah, just a second.
No, watch a video.
Read 2 examples of written work.
Yeah,
and the
you
way they
have there in the chat box 2 examples of written works marked by teachers.
Can you see them now?
Yeah, now, yeah.
Yes, okay. So we have this one, and here you have this
you have
one.
to analyze this written work in 3 groups and answer the next questions. What is the difference in feedback strategies used by each teacher? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of each of them? Then you have to choose the speaker who will represent your group and come back in 7 minutes to the main room and share your opinions and ideas. So we have 7 minutes. We have 2 written work and 2 questions you have to answer.
Okay, have you saved the link to these works, to these letters? Yeah.
Not yet, but yes.
Please make sure you have saved it. Okay, group 1, who could from room 1, who could save? Just a second. Okay.
Everyone could click on the link and then you could share it to the whole group.
Just a second.
So you can read it while Juliana is assigning you. Analyze.
Okay, so 7 minutes.
Good luck.
Please click join and join your breakout groups.
Okay, Olga, Irina, Zoya, and Natalia. Have you any problems with joining? Irina, can you hear us? Could you join your group, please? Okay, so
second variant of correction will be more interesting for students, for the student.
Yes, and more motivating.
Yeah, to do something.
More correct.
A chance to self-correct.
Yes.
And it even pleasant for eyes to see those bright colors, not only the red pen, but different.
Yes.
And when the teacher wrote the feedback at the end of the letter, it was like a personal feedback, not just general to correct ready, just to cross the word, to write it correctly, but personal, like advice.
Yeah.
The person.
excuse me, we have to answer two questions. The first, what is the difference in feedback strategies used by each teacher? So the difference is that the second correction is more correct and maybe more respective, or what to say, respective for students. Or
I can say more educated in this sphere. I can say that more correct, but I think more educated for the student.
So let's say the second is more educated, more correct, and what?
Diana, remember me to start the recording. Okay, we start the recording.
Just for a while. Okay. Okay, welcome.
Welcome back.
So let's start. Group number 1. Who's your speaker? Can you represent, who could represent your ideas? Who's your speaker?
Andruhiev.
Tatiana Andruhiev.
Yeah, group
Olga
number.
Andruhiev. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, Oля,
So,
please.
what's the difference between two feedbacks? That is that the second feedback is more educated, more correct, maybe, and more motivating, more pleasant for students. Yes. While the first ones is just the correction of mistakes, and sometimes it's even humiliating. Yes, when there are too many mistakes, and just when they are all in red color. Nowadays, it is said to be a little bit humiliating for students. It's considered to be. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of each? The advantages of the first one, that it's it's convenient and less time consuming for teacher, because it's quicker, yes, to just to correct and not to try to write something for students, to provide some interaction. Well, the disadvantages may be that it's not so motivating, and a little bit humiliating, and not so educative, and not well, it just doesn't provide that self-assessment, just peer assessment, self-assessment, something like that. Okay, and the advantages of the second feedback are that well, it's colorful, it's bright, it's interesting for a student. There is an interaction. There is, I would say, the respect for students. Yes. And but of course it's time consuming, because the teacher can needs time to write all this. And one more disadvantage that not all students can do it, because when they have to find, well, to correct the mistakes themselves, and not all of them are able to do it properly if maybe they are not very good at the material, so it can be a difficulty for them. I don't know, maybe the girl said something.
Thank you, Ola. Great job. Group number 1, would you like to add something?
No, Ola told everything. The only thing that we can add, for example, I can add that their teacher, in the second example, the teacher just divided their mistakes into 2 groups. Yes, it was easier for a person, just for a student, to understand their mistakes. But the other aspect, that the teacher used her own time and just put a link here. And while typing this link, you can find additional information in video. According to their psychological problems with, so not only all students can take material visually, yeah, and even by ear. So that's why that will be, this thing will not be suitable for all the students, I think.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
I just like to add that we need to teach our students to be responsible for their learning. Yes, to be like able to lifelong learning, and to learn for themselves, not just to get a grade or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Uliana. So the other groups, please. Who wants to share?
Room 2, Irena Dmitriev, Nadia.
Group
Olena.
number 2, who's the speaker?
I
Have
can
you
start.
chosen a speaker? Nadia?
Actually, we haven't chosen a speaker, so I'm sorry for
Okay, so-
appointing myself a speaker. So
Very well.
It's hard to disagree with anything that has been said before, because they have covered most of the material. That's why probably we don't have much to add. The only thing, the only disadvantage about the second strategy is that it's very time consuming. If the teacher has 60 or 70 students every day, it's impossible to give the feedback like the one that we have just seen for every student properly. It would take so much time to write everyone personalized, customized message, and that's probably the only disadvantage. It's very, very time consuming. But everything about the feedback is very good, and including the markers, the highlighters that even divide the mistakes into different categories, web form, spelling mistakes. The link that was mentioned, which has been just mentioned before, which gives additional information for those who have already forgotten or haven't properly learned the rules, plus the video which they can watch. Also, there is mentioned the checklist the students are supposed to know, and we don't see it in this very paper, because we can assume the students are familiar with how to work with the self-assessment checklist. So that's another positive thing. Well, that's it. That's what I wanted to say.
Great, thank you. Excellent summary.
And what if we try to give time from time, like, okay, this week I give detailed feedback for this group of students.
That might work, or we can also choose whom to give the students, because whom to give this way of feedback to, because not all students are interested in reading it. And unfortunately, in our group, we have discussed that unfortunately we all have students who might even not open the checked work, and just send the homework and forget about it, ignore what's happening like ignore the future life of their homework. So they might not be interested if they have mistakes or if they don't have mistakes, especially if they have copied the homework from someone else. So Uliana, you're right, we can give a specific comment to those students who might ask for it. Maybe there is a situation where you can discuss with students if they would like to have the specific comments from you, or the students that you know that they would benefit from your time that you dedicated to writing the letter, a letter like that. Maybe it's not very fair, it doesn't give equal opportunities for everyone, but we are not robots, we can't prepare the feedback like that for every student. Like I have 65 students. That would be impossible.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little bit time consuming, but
a lot.
A lot time consuming, because we know that feedback should be clear and detailed, yeah, and positive. So of course we should to think a lot on it, and it's of course very time consuming, a lot. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your ideas. And then now group number 3, would you like to add something?
Or just summarize?
Yeah, or just summarize.
Yes, I am speaking in group number 3.
Very well.
And I would like to add that we are the best because in the second letter we found a lot of mistakes that are not pointed out.
Oh.
And our group thinks that the second letter is more convenient and is more popular in the European countries, but the first letter is maybe more easier, or sorry, is easier for the Ukrainian teachers because we used to correct mistakes, to write something, and European countries, they are just take some another strategies to get or receive the feedback. For example, in the second letter, they didn't point the mistakes in I like making, I'm fine, cooker. Maybe it's not so important, but to my mind, we had to correct it. It's a mistake, a real big mistake.
Yeah, maybe this time teacher was focusing on some other parts of grammar.
Maybe everything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And now let's summarize all your ideas. And I ask you to read the commentaries. Maybe somebody whose favorite number is from 1 to 10. For example, my favorite number is 7, so I could read it. Whose favorite number is from 1 to 10?
What should I do?
You should read and comment. So to make a summary of your ideas, yeah?
Student A.
Student A, for example.
High number of correction, no written, qualitative feedback, no guidance on how to improve.
So maybe the biggest disadvantage, yeah, is there is no guidance to improve, because we know that quality feedback should include the guidance, should include something that the students has to improve, yeah, and there is a biggest disadvantage.
I see.
And students B, please, Yana.
Some corrections, let me move. Some corrections, but some errors are just highlighted, allowing students to think about the mistake themselves. Detailed written comments explain what the students have done well and how the work can be improved, and teacher comments on the extent to which the task has been completed. Of course, we have already discussed that the second correction, the second feedback was the perfect one. And we discussed the advantage. It is only one that's time consuming, but in general, it is a better one. And we have to practice to do it successfully.
Thank you, Yana. Yeah, it's correct. It's very good. Okay, so now let's do the biggest summary. Yeah. So what makes an effective feedback? What does it mean? What are the rules, we can say, yeah, of giving effective feedback? And I ask to read these statements. Someone whose first name starts with O, for example, with the letter O. So there are lots of participants, of ladies. Olha,
I will.
okay.
When given feedback, teachers should be give feedback at an appropriate time. Give time for the learner to contemplate and understand the feedback, and check the learner that understood the feedback and what they have to do to improve. So I totally agree.
Okay.
I don't know what
Okay,
to
so
add. Everything's clear, it seems to me.
okay, so yeah, an effective feedback should be always a commendation, yeah, for what they have done well, coupled with constructive advice and guidance on how to improve of the areas they need to improve, or the work they need developing, yeah. So if you will follow all these rules, so our feedback would be qualitative and always effective. Thank you, dear ladies, for your great work. Thank you, Julia.
Okay, and now
Uliana,
we move, thank you. We move to some kind of practical work, practical task. You have already mentioned that like among types of feedback, there might be negative or judgmental, which are not good. There might be a positive feedback, which is good, but sometimes it is not specific and the student doesn't know what specifically was very well done and what should be improved. And you have already mentioned such kind of feedback as constructive, or we can call it developmental feedback. And now please read a message in your chat, and imagine you are a student and you got such kind of feedback from your teacher, and please type in a chat how would you feel if you got such kind of feedback. So you weren't active at the lesson, you just sat and it seemed that you weren't interested in doing activities. So you are a student and your teacher gave you such kind of feedback. Yeah, hey, you are a bad teacher. What else? How would you feel? I'm sad. Okay, negative. I'm angry. Depressed. Yes, annoyed, disappointed, upset. Great, thank you. Some other? Demotivated, frustrated. Yeah, I agree with you. I completely, not interested. Great, thank you. Unconfident. I don't love you, teacher. Yeah, I will not do this task again. Great. So now let's try to think how to reformulate this feedback in order to make it constructive and developmental. And as Nadia has already mentioned, start with some positive, try to find some positive things in this student. Yeah, maybe he or she worked well in a group, maybe he or she draw a nice picture while doing any kind of activity. Just think about how to reformulate this kind of feedback and type in a chat.
Oh, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. We have talked about feedback a lot, so
maybe it's better for us to say that you were active at the lesson, and the next time, hopefully, you will be more active even. And maybe this activity was not up to you. And let's try to do it differently in other way. And so just to give another activity for student to do, yeah? Or just have a look on this activity, and at home, maybe when you will relaxed, or you will have enough time to do this, try to change how you will change the text that you wrote me, and I will be very happy and will appreciate that you will bring me your other activity, so the other variant of the same activity. So there, and we will talk with you about this, and so in such manner, I think that.
yeah, great, Lisa, thank you. Yeah, we should just ask, what could you do next time to be more active? How can I help you? Yeah, what would you like to do? What kind of tasks would you like to do better? Great, thank you. And I hope that like some of you will think more about it, and maybe by the end of the session you will type such kind of feedback in a chat. So our feedback really matters, and it needs to be very specific and constructive. And now we move to assessment for learning activities. I was happy to see in a forum that some of you have already mentioned some of them. Now we will do like this. I ask you to work for 1 minute individually, and your task is to pretend you are a facilitator of the group number 22, like we are, and you want to create a quiz for your group, and think about one question you would like to ask your participants on 4 modules, on any module we have already covered. Think about one question and write in your notebook, please. You have 1 minute. Okay, I hope some of you are ready with one question. If you are ready, wave your hand, give me a sign, please. Yeah, okay. Just 20 more seconds. Thank you, Nadia. And Oля, yes. Okay, and now we'll do like this. We'll spin the wheel And I saw that Ola is ready with her question and Nadia. Yes, okay. Ola, you will please ask your question. Read your question, please.
What is formative assessment?
Okay, and we'll find the person who will answer. Miroslava, please. You can.
Formative assessment is assessment for learning. It's assessment that we conduct during all our lessons during the learning process.
Thank you. Great. Okay. Next question, please. Who would like to read?
May I?
Yeah, please.
What information was the most useful and or surprising for you studying this unit?
Thank you. So let's find the person who will answer.
Natalia.
Well, for me, the most useful, I think, was lesson planning. I mean, all the models.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Yes, it was. I have some tips for me. I use them now, so it was informative for me.
Great, thank you. Okay, and please, one more question.
Can I?
Yes, please.
It's me. So, what have you changed in your teaching process while learning these models?
Great, thank you.
Olena.
Okay, Olena, please. Olena.
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
What have you changed in your teaching process while learning these models units?
What changes? Maybe I think of new creative ways, maybe of checking children's text. Actually, I did like the way the teacher check children's text with this highlighted version of checking their essays. And about assessment, I think when we assess children, we should always understand the situation, even if children didn't do the homework or didn't write something, some exercise, and not always be mad at them and understand their position, so they won't feel themselves in bad mood.
Thank you, Olena. Thank you for sharing. Okay, now let's think how you can use this activity with questions in your class.
The end of the lesson.
Okay.
What do you like at the lesson? What did you learn? What you dislike? What you remembered and what else? A lot of things.
Yes, okay. And I mean, like, if we ask our students to make questions, yes, and they are thinking about a question they want to ask on the topic, like maybe we have just learned present perfect and we ask them, please write one question in present perfect, and then we just use this wheel and facilitate the lesson. And Yeah, yeah.
We are getting a feedback from our students. If they understand anything or not.
Yes.
If they are in a lesson or not.
Yeah, yeah. And at this point, we are learning what they have learned. Yes, and it gives us the evidence of what was done and what needs to be more explained, more improved for us teachers. Okay, and at what stage of the lesson can we do it? Leslie has already mentioned that it can be kind of feedback at the end of the lesson. And how can we adapt it like to have it?
The practice of the lesson, the main part of the lesson, yeah.
At the beginning of the lesson to check the previous material, check the previous understanding.
Yes, great. And in what grades can we use such kind of technique?
Any.
In any. Okay, we can adapt it. And even if we don't have some technical equipment for using this wheel, we can have a glass where we put some ice cream stickers with the names of our students, and we can do like this. Okay, now you will answer yes, and it will add some more motivation and engagement to our students. Okay.
And you can, sorry, Uliana, you can use the platform Word Wall. There are a lot of such activities there.
Thank you, Diana. Yes, and also one more thing I'd like to add. And I had a great chance to observe a lesson in the USA. And they used such kind of technique when students created tests at the end of the unit. They were responsible for it. Yes, they could use some platforms for creating tests. They thought about questions and about ABC answers, and it was really thought-provoking for them. And in this way, they learned themselves, and it was great. Now, as we are done with this activity, you are going to analyze and explore some more activities. Okay, so you will work in 3 groups, and you will explore and analyze practical examples of assessment for learning. So you will think about the questions, the what, the why, and the how. Here you have some questions. What would you like to implement these activities in teaching practice, and why? Yes, in what grade and at what stage of the lesson would it work better, and how could you adapt these activities to make them suitable to use in your teaching environment? So each group has 2 activities. So this is 1 traffic lights, and this is like the 2 pictures. And the next one, okay, I will share the links to Google Docs. I think, let me know, are you happy to work in the same groups?
Yeah, never mind.
Okay, okay. Sometimes it is good to work in the same groups. So this link is for group 1. Please, group 1, make sure you have copied this link and let me know. Let me know, please. Okay. Let me know if it works. And one more thing, you can share the screen in your groups, and it will make your work easier and more collaborative. Group number 2, please let me know if you have shared. Okay, and one more. And for this activity, you have 8 minutes. So let's check. Let's check. Group number 1, have you saved your link? Please unmute yourself and
or you can use reactions.
Irena Ignatushko, Lesa Lepko, Miroslava.
Yes, I have. I just copied on my screen.
Thank you.
But I don't have the group link that I can join to the group.
Yeah. I just make sure everyone understands what to do. Okay, room 2. Nadia, Oля, Irena Dmitriev.
Yes, we got.
Yeah, okay. Room 3. Anya, Fedena, Zoya, Boyko, Irena, Maria Holovacka, Tatiana, and Yulia. Please let me know. Yes. Okay. So you have 8 minutes. And please be ready to present your ideas to the whole group and choose more than one speaker. So just briefly, what you are going to do?
Work in 3 groups.
Explore and analyze the
questions.
The activities, and be ready to answer the questions. Okay, so good luck.
Switch off camera.
Yes, but what about this? When for 30 seconds, turn to the neighbor with the whole
Maybe it's just a picture. You can share it with the whole class, with another group, verbally, in writing, via polling software. How can you do it? You can think for 30 seconds, for 1 minute. Here, I think here are the examples of or ideas. How can you think? You can pair it or share with. It is a kind of activity, but there are some variants how you can organize it.
Can you scroll back to the questions?
Yes, I can.
Would you like to implement these activities in teaching practice? I don't know. I would like to see how it works, this activity, in which, of course, and what grade? And
we can, of course, we. I think this kind of activity helps a student to develop critical thinking, because he or she has to think individually, then share and prove his or her idea, and then discuss. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Collaboration.
In what grade and what stage of the lesson would it work better?
Probably at any grade, depending on the task. It can be something very simple, very easy.
As for the primary students, what can it be? Think, pair, and share. They can think about their favorite, I don't know, fruit or animal, pair with
tend to the desk mate and share with the class.
So we can adapt it to any grade and
level.
How could you adapt this activity to make them suitable to use in your teaching environment? With teachers, it means, yeah? It means?
No, teaching environment, it means in the classroom. Suitable to use in your classroom.
I think they are the same, number one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And number 2 and 3?
What are you saying?
They are almost the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, welcome back.
Okay, group 1, tell me please, did you discuss this activity?
Yes.
Yes, and group 2?
Yes.
So somehow the links were like maybe like you copied the same link, but it's okay. So group number 1, you can present this activity, traffic lights. You can tell us about it in terms of this answering these questions. And group number 2, you will comment on this. And while group number 1 is presenting their ideas, I kindly ask group 2 and group 3, please listen attentively and type keywords in the chat box. So group number 1, who would like to start?
I can start, but we just had the activity think, group work and share, yes? So
okay, so
we only talk about this. So that's why we decided that it is very important to implement these activities in our everyday lesson, because every student will work. And we decided that from the 4th grade, it will be better to start these activities because the student will be aware to think. And so we talk about that it is good for the one just while practicing. So when the teacher explained the new material or at this period of lesson, that when we have the practice, grammar practice or communicating or some other, so we can use these activities. For example, we can use pair work, yeah, and after that this pair can communicate with each other, and after that share the material to the rest of the class.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, and this one is similar as the one we have done, like the first one. Okay, next, please. What group? What was the number of group who discussed this activity? Traffic lights?
I think.
Group number 1. Who would like to present your ideas?
But we have discussed only think, pair, share.
Leslie
Maybe
also already mentioned it. Yeah.
We mixed up maybe something, or I don't know. Maybe we say it not proper activity.
Okay. And what about this activity? Okay, let me see you because when I'm sharing, I see just a few people. Okay, so. Okay. Which group discussed traffic lights? Let me know, please. Any groups? Okay. Which group could discuss exit ticket?
Group number 3.
It seems to me. Yeah?
Okay, good. So let's start with this. Who would like just briefly to present your ideas?
I can do.
Please.
So we were discussing this activity and we come to agreement that this kind of activity is better to give in the grade, I think, 5th or maybe 4th, depending on the class and school. And at the end of the lesson, or it can be even done as a homework and with some templates so they can use to fill.
Okay, thank you. Great, thank you, Tanya. Thank you very much. And could you manage to discuss this one also?
Yeah, we thought about it also, and we agreed that this activity should be done in a secondary school, beginning from the secondary school. And also we thought that it would be a good idea at the beginning of the lesson to mention that they had to be very attentive during the lesson because they will have they will have to analyze or think about something during the lesson and give feedbacks, and it can be done in groups by dividing the class into groups or pairs, something like that.
Yes, thank you, great. And it is also about sharing assessment criteria with the students and they know what they should do to be able to achieve success and to be successful. Okay, thank you very much. And we don't want to go a lot of like over the time, so I prepared a Kahoot for you, and we'll send you a message in a Viber group, and you can do it on your own because Kahoot has like 2 options. You can either play a live game with everyone, or you can assign it like a homework, and also your students can play it as many times as they want, and they will practice more. And also you can use your students' questions to create a Kahoot, or you can, and it is even better, you can teach your students how to create it, and they will do your job. Okay, so let's reflect on this session, and please, as you have done at the beginning, use the annotation tool and choose how you feel now.
It's anonymous completely.
Yes, exactly.
Oh no, Uliana.
Yeah, okay, I have already done it. Okay, please. Okay, and while some of you are typing and some have already marked, could you tell us, please, what methods of assessment for learning are used in this course during the whole course from the very beginning till now? If you analyze it,
Formative.
It's
formative.
Formative, yes. And what specifically tasks or activities you do in this course are for learning?
Group work.
Uh-huh.
Reflection.
Yes. Uh-huh. When you are giving feedback to our sessions, you also like think about what have you learned, what did you like. What about forum discussions?
Yeah.
Yes,
they're also part of it.
They are beneficial and they help us.
And the last activity was very useful, where I liked it a lot when we were appointed roles, what we had to do regardless of what we think. So that was interesting. A role play.
Yeah. Thank you. And we also liked all your ideas and we appreciate your contributions. Okay, so we see that we could move a little bit higher. And thank you about that. And this is the last thing we need to just stop on today. So this time you will write your feedback like this. It will be 100 word saga by, and you will reflect actually on your learning and on your feelings and attitudes about assessment for learning. Here you have 2 prompts. You can pay attention to these prompts or no, it's up to you. You can write as you see it. Yes, so these 2 questions are not a must, just in case you need something. Okay, we'll share it in our Viber group as well as in forum discussions. So thank you very much. We greatly appreciate your work, your time, your efforts. Have a good evening and see you at the end of March. We'll write your message in our Viber group to let you know when we'll have the session. And like for this unit, you have less time, so please start completing self-access slides like as soon as it is possible. And I think that we'll start the forum discussion on Monday, just to have more time for it.
Thank you so much for your dedicated work, our trainers. Thank you so much for being so informative, patient, and professional. We do appreciate your time that you spent with us to teach us new things. Thank you.
We are not teaching, we are learning from each other because your ideas are also great and excellent.
And thank you for your positive feedback. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies. Really great job. Well done today, because you are improving us and we try to improve you. So improving each other. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies.
See you soon.
Yes, well done to everyone.
Bye-bye.
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 Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye.